Oddity Files.
Podcast. All things creepy,
Cryptic.
otherworldly.
Hey guys, how are you? So, I've been having some special guests on, off and on, but this one's super special to me. It's super close to my heart. We're going to call this a duo episode or a bonus episode. We're going to launch this on both for Oddity Files, and we're going to put it up on the Miss Murder podcast as well, that you guys are not sick of hearing about, because I need more people to subscribe and rate and review. So I'm just putting that out there. That's your guilt. But I have my dear friend Heather Rage with me. Heather, say hello.
Hello.
And Heather is actually a longtime listener. It's how we kept in touch. Well, how she kept in touch, because I wasn't listening to her podcast until we made one. But she has listened to the show, and she's not nervous at all. And I'm just going to put that out there. So Heather, say hello to everybody.
Hi, guys. I am thankful for being on Oddity Files. And like Kitsie said, been a listener for a while. And we were actually able to bond over not just true crime, but paranormal as well. And all the weird stuff.
Yeah, because weird is the new cool.
Weird is the new cool.
But you guys are listening to Oddity Files,
The
podcast. And Miss Murder, the podcast. No, that's not even a thing.
We can make it a thing.
Yes, in this duo episode. So we're going to bring the paranormal, wrap it up with a nice little true crime bow, and we just thought it'd be something fun for you all. And yes, I am shamelessly plugging Miss Murder is what I'm doing to all y'all Oddity Files listeners, and all y'all Miss Murder listeners. I am plugging Oddity Files because I am that bitch.
But hey, you get a 2-for-1 special right now, and you can download both.
Absolutely. But since this is an actual Oddity Files episode and Miss Murder episode, I'm going to give out all the Oddity Files social sites. Heather, do you have the Miss Murder social sites handy?
I should. Just give me one.
Okay, I'll start rattling off my thing, and I'll just point to you when it's your time. So guys, are you following us on all the stuff and all the things? Well, you should be. We are at Oddity Files on Instagram and Twitter. Just search Oddity Files on Facebook, and you'll bring up our Facebook page. We have a super kind of sort of secret group called Oddity Files Fan Group. Again, I'm so creative. But you just click that join button, and I will let you in for all the fun memes, all the crazy paranormal stories that people are posting in there. We always have our contest going, our rate, review, and subscribe contest. If you rate and review us on any of those sites like Apple Podcasts, IMDb, or Amazon Prime, and you screenshot it and you send it into oddityfilescrew.com, we do have a monthly contest where we give away some Oddity Files swag. Heather, we need to work on a Miss Murder contest and some Miss Murder swag.
We really do. All the blood.
Yeah. All of it. And we have a Patreon page for Oddity Files. I know times are a little tough right now, and I appreciate everybody who's sticking with us on our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/oddityfiles. And there's all kinds of exclusive content on there. This video will be on there because Heather is in Texas, I'm in Indiana, and we are recording this via Zoom. So we appreciate the Oddity Files producers, who are Doug Malden-Locke, Ryan Hoke, and Donald Blanchflower. We appreciate all of you guys so much. So Heather, did you find our Miss Murder stuff?
I did. So for Miss Murder, we do have a Twitter and Instagram. That's going to be Miss Murder _pod for both of those socials. And then our Facebook we have Miss M Podcast because Facebook hates the word murder.
Hates it.
We also do have, thanks to Kitsie, our Miss Murder fan page, right?
Oh my gosh, I was just pulling that up. Yes, and it is called Miss Murder, which I could put the word murder into that one, True Crime Female Killers. So if you just search in groups for Miss Murder, you should be able to find it.
You should be able to pull up all the stuff. And then last, we have our email at missmurderpodcast@gmail.com.
.com.
And there you have it.
Woo! All the stuff and all the motherfucking things. And we also, Oddity Files, by we, I mean Oddity Files, we have a show on Amazon Prime where I hunt ghosts and I get their stories, and some of them even have true crime twists. So I'm just putting that out there. But check it out on Amazon Prime. I did notice this week that YouTube now sells episodes of things. So I'm going to have to look into that and see if I can get season 1, 2, and 3 from Prime onto YouTube as well.
That would be amazing. I know that for all of you listeners, Miss Murder Patreon and YouTube page is currently in the works. So stay tuned and we will let you know when we have that going.
Yeah, I got to add that to my list of things to do. Shit. Okay. So since we're doing the mashup, since we're on Oddity Files, I got to ask you, Heather, anything creepy going on in your life? Anything haunted, cryptid, otherworldly?
So it's funny you say that. So I remember several episodes ago, you were talking about our new house. And then I was telling you about the creepy factors of how I'll wake up and there'll be random lights on that, like why would they be on and stuff like that. And so I didn't tell Alex this. He's currently recording his podcast, so I'm good. He can't hear me. And so it was after we put the kids to bed and Alex went to sleep. I was doing dishes or something like that. I was about to go to bed, and Apollo was in the kids' room, and he was trying to get out. And so
Apollo is her adorable, cute little brindle Frenchie.
My little baby. And the kids were asleep, sound asleep. They've been asleep for a while. And Apollo, whenever I cracked open the door, he gets up from his bed and starts leaving, and whenever he does that, I hear this small, like, childlike voice, and it goes, "No, Apollo, don't go." And so I know after I heard that, I walked into the room because I thought it was Ethan, or the boy.
That was going to be my first question to debunk it. Were the kids awake?
No,
but go ahead.
And so I looked, I was looking at their faces with the dim lighting, and I was trying to see, like, were they waking up, lifting the arm and doing the drop, whatever, to see if, seeing if they were.
I mean, that's all you can do without going, "Hey guys, are you awake?"
Right. And so I did that, and they were sound asleep. And so I was mind boggled about what is this voice that I'm hearing. And whenever apparently this is going to be between the listeners and stuff like
us.
that. Yes. And just us. But whenever I stay the night upstairs, whether it's late at night or whether I'm upstairs and it's super early in the morning, I'm a light sleeper. And so I keep thinking I'm hearing either the kids awake or some sort of, voices. And so that's my creepy little thing. And it wasn't a big deal because the kids talk in their sleep and stuff like that. But after this last situation of they were completely asleep, and the fact that they it really wasn't them, because how are they going to be telling Apollo not to leave the room dead asleep? I
and
was
that's
just
not something
like,
they would do anyway.
Yeah, and so I don't know what it is. And, until something else happens, I will keep you posted, Kitsie.
Yes. So I would look into the land around your house, first and foremost. I mean, if it is a child spirit, it would have learned your dog's name by now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So...
Well, and he, even when the kids are not there, because he usually goes upstairs to sleep, or he'll sleep on the side of our beds, but sometimes when the kids aren't there, he'll sleep in his bed, in between the kids' beds when they're not there, in his bed. So,
really?
Which is weird, because usually he doesn't do that. He likes going upstairs where it's warmer, or he loves sleeping where either he's comfortable, which is upstairs, or with, in the same room as me and Alex if the kids aren't there. And so for him to sleep in there, that's why I was like, what is going on? And so, yeah, I'm doing like a little bit of an investigation and seeing what all happens.
Do you need me to send some sage?
Sad to say that I've been using my sage essential oils to diffuse in my house.
Perfect.
Not the same.
Perfect.
Not the same, but it's close enough.
But, I mean, if we're not telling Alex, she can't walk around the house going, okay, any unwanted energies, you must leave now.
Babe, I need you to go run an errand.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my goodness. I don't have any paranormal in the news because I fucking forgot about it. I am so sorry. Yeah.
Well, I did see, I don't know, mind you, it was CNN, so you never know. But something about they were releasing info on aliens and the UFO or something like that. I don't know if you covered that.
You know what? I have not. I kind of covered it on Friday, but I'm going to pull it up here real quick. So let me just figure this out real quick. You know what? I didn't cover it on Oddity Files. I was on Kind of Nerdy Girls. I can't keep my podcast straight. Again, I'm going to cut all this out. But, okay. So, you know what? I did remember this. NASA scientists have detected a parallel universe next to ours where time runs backwards.
What?
NASA.
No.
Yeah. So here's my plan. I'm going to go to the other universe where I'm aging in reverse, and then have the younger person of me come here. And then once I start to age here, I'm going to switch it back up and, just keep going back and forth. And I will save so much money on Botox and facial creams.
Oh my goodness. I'm like imagining it's like everlasting life. No one has to die.
Right? Nobody. Now, I'm not going to lie. I didn't read the article because the thought of all that science terrifies me.
Yeah.
But that was the headline. Who was it written by? Let's see. Was it a reputable source? Well, dailystar.co.uk sometimes has some shite articles. So it could be real. It might not be. I don't even know the guy. It's all allegedly. But if I can find a way to save money on Botox, I am, especially in these trying economical times.
Oh my goodness, so trying. I have a hair appointment tomorrow and I'm kind of nervous. Not that salons are open.
I got my nails done today.
No way. If you look at mine.
I'm so excited.
They're all sad. I have a Band-Aid on this finger too.
I did. When I went, I wore that mask you made, Chris.
You did?
It was amazing.
I have fabric coming in for you. It's barely shipping. Oh, you want one like his but different color?
Just like Chris's. If we could do it with, do you have purple stitching?
I have purple stitching. I definitely
I
do.
love his.
Okay.
It's perfect. I love it so much. And you just let me know where to PayPal you the money.
I will get you your mask. No worries.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited. It's just the ones that wrap around your ears. I have an abnormally large head. Mm-hmm. Not even for a woman. And my head is bigger than my husband's, and my husband is 6'4". So anytime I wear a hat, I get a headache. But it was pulling so hard on my ears, and I love the one I have. Tracy Gurney made it, and It's got witch hats and cauldrons and all the spooky stuff on it. But yours was so comfortable. So yes, please, thank you.
Yes, I will gladly get you one. For sure.
Oh, okay. Should I tell you a story?
Yes, I would love to hear a story.
Okay.
Ghost
Yay.
campfire story.
Guys, have you heard of diedinhouse.com? This is pretty much the coolest thing ever. Ever feel like somebody's watching you in your house and you don't know why and you're the only one in the house? Did you know real estate brokers are not obliged to tell you if someone died in the house unless you ask? Yep, I found that one out the hard way. I mean, it's certainly not a checkbox on a Zillow site, now is it? So, are you looking at houses and don't want to move into a murder house? I mean, I do, but I understand that it's not for everyone. Well, now you can find out who died in your house, or any house for that matter, and usually what the cause of death was as well. And we have a way for you to save money when you do. Of course we do. Check out diedinhouse.com. Save 10% by using promo code OddityFiles, one word, no spaces. Before buying or renting a home, get informed about everything. Use diedinhouse.com to learn the house history. Again, head to diedinhouse.com and enter promo code OddityFiles, one word, at checkout, and you'll save 10%.
So I thought it would be fitting, since this show is kind of, but not really, absolutely about promoting Heather's and my new podcast, Miss Murder. Just going to say that again, because I'm that bitch. I researched for ghosts that were murdered by women, because in case you didn't know, Miss Murder is all about female killers. It's not those creepy guys that kill for absolutely no reason. These are heartless, terrifying women that kill. Yes. So, well, I mean, these women might go along the random route, but, you know. Anyway, so I searched for ghosts that were murdered by women, and I came across a pretty riveting, yet not so much talked about, ghost of Robert Elliot. And that story goes a little something like this. On the evening of August 23rd, 1662, in the small village of Great Driffield in Yorkshire, England, Isabel Bennington sat by her fire in her home, enjoying her evening and doing whatever the heck it is people did in the 1600s. I'm assuming it went down like this. Oh, this is such a lovely fire. Gosh, I wish I had Wi-Fi. Yeah?
Yeah, sounds about right.
So and as she was daydreaming while gazing into the fire in her new home, she happened to look up and see a young, blonde-haired man in a green suit. Just standing there. She thought maybe it was some guy off the street who wandered in looking for a place to stay. I mean, didn't people lock their doors back then?
Apparently not.
I have never appreciated my Ring cameras more than I did when I was reading this story. Okay, so then the man starts to walk silently toward her, and it takes this to make her freak out. First of all, she's like, oh, just random dude in my house. I wonder what he wants. And then he starts walking toward her, and she's like, I read in one of the things, it was like, she said, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, tell me why you're here. I'm sure it was a lovely accent and sounded more Shakespearean.
I don't understand why she didn't freak out, but, you know, maybe it happened on a normal.
I would lose my shit.
Right?
Exactly. Okay, so, like I said, Isabel finally demands to know who he is, and as the man starts to walk closer to her, I mean, he doesn't stop because she's scared. Anyway, she's now really realizing that the man is actually a spirit, and there's just something off about him. Said spirit walks closer to her and tells her that he's wandered this home for 14 years and was condemned to walk it for another 7. And he went on to explain that he would not hurt her. Okay. I'm down for this guy now. He's a ghostly communicator. That's my jam.
She gets a story time.
Exactly. But that was it for their conversation.
Oh.
Hey, I'm here. I'm stuck here. I'm not going to hurt you. And the next night he showed up again, but this time, I guess his communication button was turned off. He didn't say anything that time. So Isabel had only been living in the house for 3 months. And as one does in a new house, she did some renovations in the home. I'm assuming it went down like that. There were no lows, but, you'd go take a twig off a tree to fix something. At one point, she decided to fix a dip in the floor. She pulled up the floor and found a disturbed mound of dirt underneath the floorboards. Isabel, I'm sure, is excited because she thinks she's going to find some money or some fabulous jewels. She digs up the mound, only to find human bones.
Her favorite. I'm just kidding.
My favorite. And not long after this is when the spirit in the green suit starts to visit her. So, one would assume that those bones equal spirit in the green suit. No DNA tests in 1600s, unless we're time traveling.
Your parallel universe. That's our time traveling.
So 3 days after his last visit, when he was, Mr. Stoic and silent, the spirit shows up again, and he tells Isabel that his name is Robert Elliot, and said he was an apprentice of what I was not able to find, so I have no freaking idea. He was traveling on business when he stayed at what was now Isabel's home. He was robbed and murdered in his sleep by a woman while 2 women watched 14 years earlier.
Wow.
So, and every bit of this happened in the house Isabel and her husband now call home. He puts Isabel in charge of seeking justice for his murder, and Isabel was up for the job. She headed the very next day to the local authorities. What else did she have going on? Fire gazing? So, it would get a little old after a while. So, crime solving, that sounds like a party. With the story and the bones to match, this led the local magistrate, Thomas Crompton, to believe her tale. Yay! And he was intrigued by her report and asked her to, the next time she sees Mr. Elliot, to ask him the names of the women who killed him. And Mr. Elliot came through, giving the names of the women and where they were currently living, which I truly hope means he was able to haunt their asses in the homes they are living in now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how hauntings work, but if he knows where they live, I'm assuming he's been there.
A ghost stalker.
Yes.
For vengeance.
Well, you murder somebody. Yeah. You're allowed to stalk some bitch. He went on to tell Isabel that his employer had sent him to find the women and collect a debt that they owed his boss. So maybe mafia apprentice, gambling den apprentice, or baking apprentice. I'm still not sure what kind of apprentice he was. It's up for grabs. Isabel was happy to go back to the JP, which is what the police department was called. It was the Justice of the Peace, and they just called it the JP, and tell her findings to anyone who would listen. And listen they did. Sadly, the case never really went beyond the telling of the tale. People were brought in and questioned, but it never really went beyond that, even though other informants had written in as well with the same information. I don't understand how the law worked back then. I'm just Jack the Ripper. I'm just saying. But this isn't the end of the story by any means. The true crime obsession was alive and well back in the 17th century. And instead of podcasts and murder networks or true crime novels, there were pamphlets that I'm sure the locals bought up as quickly as they could be printed. And the ghosts were what everybody was talking about at the time as well. And it was said that this was the golden age of British ghosts. As you can imagine, our Miss Isabel became a celebrity of sorts. And it kind of mirrors what we've got going on today. I can only imagine that Isabel would be deciding between the ID network or the Travel Channel instead of gazing into her fire. But at the time, you could read the 8-page pamphlet called A Strange and Wonderful Discovery of a Horrid and Cruel Murther. Yes, I said murther. I'm really glad that didn't stick.
Yeah, Murther's not as menacing.
No, not at all. I mean, I kind of want a story like this to happen now, and whoever the ghost goes to will be my new favorite celebrity. I'm not going to lie.
I'm telling you, this parallel universe you talked about needs to happen.
Girl, I think you're onto something. So it's also said that Mr. Elliot, our green-suited ghost, also told her of a plot to kill Charles II. He was just restored to his throne less than 2 years earlier, and Isabel recounted the accusations told by her what I'm assuming is her ghostly bestie at this point. And the names and the positions they held, Elliot had given her, matched up to the men that were already working in the king's household. Nothing was done. Nothing ended up happening to the king at the hands of these two men. What the heck, Robert? One crime solved is never enough. I feel ya. Robert is Mr. Elliot. I probably should have put Mr. Elliot. So there you have it, kids. The story of the haunting of Isabel Binnington. And this was a really fucking tough story to research. There's not a lot of information about a haunting in the 1600s.
For real. It's funny that you talked about the pamphlets, because I feel like that's something that barely, now that technology made its way, like even in the 1980s, like pamphlets were the thing, weren't they? Other than newspapers?
I don't think so.
Well, I will say
I mean, my grandma had all the Harlequin romance novels. They were pretty small.
Well, I was doing research on a female killer, and it was in the 1980s, and traveling preachers would hand out pamphlets on serial killers and stuff like that. Sense. And so maybe a different kind of pamphlet, sense. But maybe those are like the door-to-door traveling.
Yeah, maybe we should bring pamphlets back, Heather.
I'm telling, it seems like that's where history is. It was all typewriters and pamphlets and these wonderful archives that would be awesome to go through. Oh my goodness.
Microfiche. I'm sure that's way before your time, but that was a thing and it was fucking magical. But I do thank God for the internet. Okay, let me shout out to the stuff and the things. I actually had to go in and read people's college theses in order to write this story. So thanks, COVID, for making all that stuff free right now. My wingmen are Todd Butler from the Journal of British Studies, and thanks Saja Blazin from Cambridge Scholars Publishing, and Amanda Jane McKeever from the University of Sussex. But I felt it so fitting to find a ghost story of a ghost that was killed/murdered by a woman. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun. With 2 watches.
So there you go. There's my story. I guess it was a little longer. I was a little worried it was going to be super short. I think it's because I'm used to writing huge stories for us when we podcast, because there's so much information about these murders. So it wasn't so bad. But I am super stoked. I've heard so many stories about murders from you. I'm sure this has a little murder in it. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. But tell me your ghost story, Heather. Or paranormal.
I feel like I should have gotten more cool paranormal stuff in there, but we'll see.
No.
Again, it's a twofer, so I felt like it was.
I covered the ghosts. You go murder, girl. That's my jam.
Okay, so this week is a treat for everyone, for you Oddity File listeners, because you get to hear my semi-noob self. Thank you, Kitsie, for getting me over this little hump of nervousness. But
You're killing it.
I get to grace you all with a story, which you may or may not have heard of. So, tell me, have you heard of It Is a Serial Killer? And I know that, not all our killers are serial killers, but this one is a serial killer. And it's none other than Dorothea Puente. Have you heard of her?
Oh, yes. This is good, and it's got all the paranormal. Bring it, girl. Okay. Oh, yeah.
So you can definitely interject and add as much as you can. And I was like, I've heard bits and pieces of her story before, and researching it all was very, very interesting. And so,
Oh, very cool.
most of you,
I only know what the Ghost Adventures told me, so.
I was gonna say, because I
got
watched
this.
the Ghost Adventures episode, to help me with this as well. So
Yay.
interject all you want, because I didn't get to finish the episode because I had to.
I don't remember. I'm Alzheimer's years old.
Okay, well, this will be fun for both of us then.
And the listeners.
And the listeners. And I was like, so if you guys have heard of it, you can pretend just for me, and listen, or, you can skip the story and give us 5 stars on both our podcasts anyways.
Yes, but no, listen, because this is going to be good. This is a good story.
Okay, so Dorothea Puente, she ran a boarding house, and I was going to say bed and breakfast. So
Same thing.
a B&B.
Just no breakfast.
Going back a little bit, she had 2 alcoholic parents. Her mom was a prostitute. Dad tried to attempt suicide in front of her. And so you could say she had a crazy life growing up. So,
Yes.
yes. Her dad later died of tuberculosis, and then her mom died in a car accident a year after that. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so fairly, close in death. She was still really young, and so Dorothea was then sent to an orphanage, and at that orphanage, she was sexually abused. So this poor girl did not get a break at all whatsoever.
No.
She had a lot of different marriages and so many different kids. She had, 2 daughters, and she sent one to her relatives, the other one up for adoption, and then she wound up miscarrying with her second husband, and then, she got sent to jail for forging checks, and she was paroled for half a year. And then as soon as she got out of jail, she got pregnant by a man she barely even knew, and placed that girl up for adoption, and then married again. And this was looking at timelines, it seemed like it was the longest one because it lasted for 14 years. And then,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And then after that, she was arrested. She was arrested for 3 months because she owned and managed a brothel. And
She's got all the bases covered. I'm just saying.
She really does. And whenever she was released, she was right back in jail again for vagrancy. Just like, vagrancy.
Wow.
Like, seriously, it seems like they were trying to target her. So,
it doesn't sound like she was living the most respectful life either.
No.
However, she had a pretty tragic childhood. Not that I'm making excuses for her, but yeah.
Poor girl. I was like, she just needs, because her name was Dorothea, I was like, she just needs to follow the yellow brick road,
There's no place like home.
There's no
but
place
my
like
parents are dead. Sorry, that was awful.
So, once she was released from jail after that, she decided, gonna get a serious job. And so she worked as a nurse's aide for a while, and it was to tend to elders and disabled people in private homes. And so then after that, she started managing her boarding houses, which thus, brings us to our time. In 1966, after she divorced her Roberto Puente, that's how she got her last name. She was in Mexico City. It only lasted a couple years, and then that was whenever she was able to take over the 3-story, 16-bedroom care home, which is what she made into the boarding home. After her divorce, because she got married and divorced again, she was back at the bars, and so Dorothea was at local bars on the hunt for men who received benefits. So then, from there, she was starting her forgery to steal money and basically committed fraud, what's known as fraud.
Yep. This is the Dorothea I know.
Yes. And so according to our wonderful Wikipedia, it was 34 counts of treasury fraud. So
Oh, my.
she definitely got around with money if it wasn't the men. She had a lot of marriages, and lots. I didn't even say how many she had. It was just so long going through it.
I'm
So going forward, enough about her personal life. It's time. It's like, let's get to the juicy stuff. So
Yes.
Dorothea at the boarding house. So you could say with the different tenants that live there, she had very mixed reviews. Like if it were a Yelp advertisement, you couldn't tell if it was a 3-star or a 5-star or a 1-star with all of these different reviews. And so this is when the Ghost Adventures episode did come in handy, because I wanted to see, okay, what did this boarding house look like? And so after seeing it, it was super bizarre. So she had signs that say, keep out from under the grass. And, she had mannequins and mascots and statues all over. She had a replica mannequin of her at the door. And I was like, are you serious? Like, how creepy is that? Especially late at night when you're going up those steps. Just imagine running into that. And so,
no, hell no.
I was like, it's just beyond creepy, especially at night. So some of the tenants would complain, saying that she was stingy. She would refuse to give money back or give them their mail. And, other boarders would say that she went above and beyond, made them feel at home, cooked them meals. And so I was like, okay, so my quote of bed and breakfast could have been correct, I guess. And so
for the people she liked,
for the people, I was like, for the people she apparently liked. So again, it was 3 stories, and it looked like it was either the ground floor or the basement. When she started renting out that space is whenever she started her murders. And so,
Ooh.
yes. So in 1982, a 61-year-old began living with her, but then died of an overdose of codeine and acetaminophen. And I was like, acetaminophen is like ibuprofen, right?
It's, I think it's Tylenol. So Tylenol with codeine.
Right, yeah.
Which is a super duper painkiller that's not like an opiate.
Right? And I'm sure that's definitely not good on your your organs or system. And so whenever she died of that, Dorothea told police that it was probably due to her husband being terminally ill, which then they put the cause of death as suicide. And so
okay.
So Dorothea had it down pat. She murdered elders and mentally disabled who boarded with her so she can take their social security checks and cash them in. So, obviously...
And she just, she wouldn't tell people they would die, right? And these checks would just keep rolling in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she wouldn't at all. They would disappear, quote, quote, air quote, since you listeners can't see me. So, obviously, her motives for killing tenants were for finances. And, again, according to Wikipedia, she had an income of $5,000 per month with these checks and stuff like that.
Not doing so bad now, is she?
No. And according to Ghost Adventures, they were saying that with this money, she was purchasing a facelift for her. And I was like,
oh,
what?
okay. I can get behind that.
What? Turns out her go-to for murder was Dalmane, which is a poison that can paralyze their victims. And so they can be totally immobile. Either, if taken with alcohol or whatever, it could cause their heart to stop and die, depending if you mix it or not. So,
like legit poison.
Oh, yeah, it's legit poison. And so some other articles said that she would give some of her tenants sleeping drugs and then suffocate them in their sleep. And I was like, no, this old lady, I'm sure she looked small and fragile, especially when she was older and in jail. And so it was...
If I remember right, she had those big old 1980s glasses that looked like goggles. Yes.
Oh my goodness, yes. And the last photo they had of her when she was in court, she looked so tiny and skeletal-like and...
Super
I was
frail,
like...
Yeah, and... Didn't they claim she would drag the bodies outside by herself?
And so, it was hard for me to believe the fact that, one, she can suffocate someone if she just, and I was like, but I took nighttime meds before, and so I was like, that shit knocks you on your ass. Yeah. And I was like, so the suffocating makes sense. But for her to drag those bodies to, they call it the death room, where she prepared these bodies,
That is fucking fancy. I'm going to rename my podcast dungeon. No, I won't.
Death room.
That's terrible. I should. People think I'm killing people. Be like, she has a podcast.
Investigators will be at your door within minutes. Or you're in Indiana, so it might take them
in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. It might take 2 hours. Yeah. We don't know.
And so, I was just mind blown. Like, how the hell did she drag all these bodies by herself?
Right.
And so I was looking at another investigation, and they thought that she had help from a man drag these bodies to the room, and I couldn't find anything else on it, so I was just like, we'll never know. So the lead detective, Sergeant John Cabrera, he went to investigate, and they started digging to find any bodies. And so, Cabrera himself said that as he was digging, they found cloth and then leathery material, which they found out later from the pathologist was human. Yeah, it was skin.
That's too much. Mm-hmm. No, I'm just kidding. That's fabulous.
I was like, all dried up and gross.
Yeah.
And so when
somebody was in the tanning bed too long.
So when he was digging, he thought he hit a tree root, and so when he went to pull it out, what he thought was a root instead was the femur bone. And so
could you imagine?
Imagine pulling that out, struggling, and then as soon as you get it out, you're just like, holy hell, what the fuck?
We've got her, boys.
And so after that, they wound up uncovering, I believe it was 6 bodies or 7 of them from her yard.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah. And so they went to the death room, and because of Cabrera, he said that when they pulled back the carpet, they saw the stains and smelled the odors instantly of all the bodily fluids. And whenever I was watching another investigation, it is now a master bedroom. And so I was like, what?
The death room?
The death room is now a master bedroom.
Oh, those people are fucked up.
Right?
I don't know that I could make a master bedroom. I mean, we're talking about me. Make a master bedroom out of a death room.
Right? And I was like, they had to have known.
They had to have known. Because the people who live there now, according to the Ghost Adventures, they're actually the ones that put out the mannequin and the signs, just kind of playing light on what had actually happened at the house.
Well, I was going to say, I saw that they added more, because the investigation that I saw after the Ghost Adventures one, they added like a Superman, they added a gnome and stuff like that. And so, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they did add the other stuff. I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure.
I just
either,
know that
they
said that
they know
it was just crazy. And if any of you listeners know, I would like to know, because I only watch like
Oddity Files Crew at gmail.com or missmurderpodcast at gmail.com.
So yeah, I watched like 3 different interviews, and one was at a later time, one was at an earlier time. It just seems like they keep adding. So
they're kind of weird, the people that live there now. But like, in the weird is the new cool kind of weird. So I get what they're doing. I still don't know if I could make the murder room my master bedroom. I just didn't
understand that at all, because so Ghost Adventures showed the clip of an investigator saying that the neighbor let Dorothea borrow like the electric circular saw or whatever.
Yeah.
And because they found a body without hands, feet, and a head. And so they were like, oh, okay, well, if this doesn't confirm it, then I don't know what will. So
exactly. It's like, God, I'm never letting Dorothea borrow power tools ever again.
No lawnmower, no hedge clippers, nothing.
No head trimmers. Oh, I mean hedge trimmers.
So Dorothea had 9 confirmed murders and buried seven of them in her yard, and so she was dubbed the name the Death House Landlady, which sounds so badass in a way. I don't know why, but reading Death House Landlady, that's pretty cool. So, yes, so when the new owners moved into her house, they said that the negative energy seemed to be drifting away. You know, they were adding, again, whenever I saw the other, not the Ghost Adventures one, I don't want to say the name of it only because I couldn't handle one of the ladies there because I was just like, I can't tell.
Was she that annoying?
Yes. Like,
say it. I might cut it out later, but I doubt it. Fuck it. This is my podcast. Fuck it. Say what you want.
Let me see if I can find it. I purposely
because I want to watch it now.
I was getting annoyed with her so much. Let's see. It was I know their company name was Spirit. Like it was S.P.I.
Oh.
I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah, it's no big deal. I can probably search for if it's Spirit and it's Dorothea Puente. I'm sure I can find it.
It's on my desktop.
Oh, gotcha.
I do all my research and stuff on there.
See, I do my research on my laptop and then I do this on my iMac, so that's funny.
Complete opposite because I was just like, I like my big screen, I like my speakers, and so that's why.
Well, I usually do my research, especially for Miss Murder, sitting on my couch watching ID Network.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So it's sad because whenever I research for Miss Murder, I'm usually watching, as silly as this sounds, I'm usually watching a wedding TV show and researching murders. So it's like best of both worlds.
Okay. Whatever floats your boat, baby girl. I love it. Is it the Disney weddings?
Yes, it is. It's the wonderful Disney weddings, and I have Murderpedia, and, you know, like I'll have clips of all these deaths and stuff like that running on my computer. So, again,
I love it.
Best of both worlds. So, Dorothea.
Back to Dorothea. Sorry, I digress.
So yes, they added more stuff, you know, to like all the superheroes and stuff like that to make that negative energy go away. And then they said that when she died in, you know, March 2011, by the way, she was 82 when she died. She lived a lengthful life. Yes.
Yeah.
They say that the house, you know, wound up growing into a dark state again because of her death. Hence, hello, Dorothea, back at the house. And so,
yes, exactly. And that's the Ghost Adventures when they had investigated it.
Yeah.
You know, that little Kinect camera, like what we use, where it's like it throws all the dots out and then it has the stick figures. Mm-hmm. Like you can see spirits that you can't see with the naked eye. They actually think they caught Dorothea hiding in a closet from them.
I didn't get to see that
it's actually a really good episode. Yeah,
I
really
wanted to finish it. And that's what happens when you watch stuff right before a meal. So, yeah. So they, you know, the different crews of the investigations I watched, they all, you know, interviewed Peggy Holmes, who lived on the ground level where all the victims were staying, and, you know, where, you know, I was going to say where they were killed. And so Peggy said that, you know, as soon as she moved in, she could smell death and like that old blood smell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so her story that, you know, she's told in all these different investigations is that, so Peggy stated that when she saw her, she had this smile on her face. Now imagine a ghost smiling at you,
and especially a murderous spirit smiling at you. Like, am I next?
And so Peggy said that she just smiled at her. She didn't, you know, this smile didn't reach her eyes, and it was just her mouth. And so I can imagine that smile was a frightening smile. And
Yes.
all I'm imagining is just this huge, like, smile of, like, I'm coming for you or something like that.
I don't know how to smile without my eyes. That's weird. Go ahead.
I know, right? Man, the things dead people can do.
I know. Fuck.
And so Peggy said that after, she was smiling at her, Dorothea would just pace along the wall on the side of her bed, and one of the interviewers was like, was she looking for something, or what was she doing? Did you try calling out for her? And she was just saying that Peggy was just wondering, like, what are you doing in my bedroom, and stuff like that. And so watching these ghost hunters that visited the place, when they go in there, they all, especially in the death room, they all get like this choking feeling in their throats. And I was like, is that the poison? And so
yes.
And so I wish I got to finish the Ghost Adventures episode. I'm probably gonna do it after this episode.
I would. Yes. It's so good.
And so the different reasons why Ghost Adventures and the investigators that won't be named, they all
remain nameless.
shall remain, like he who must not be named.
Exactly.
They think her spirit didn't move on because she wants to be in control of her victims. Even after death, she wants to have that power over them. And even watching the bits that I did with Ghost Adventures, way to go, Zach and team, hearing all these, like, you're dead, and, like this ghost voice of her coming out, I was shivering. Like, I was starting to freak out because I would see, like, a reflection, like, shine in my room. I'm like, oh, it was just a car. We're good.
Welcome to my world.
Some of the research that I did, here we go, references. It was Wikipedia, Murderpedia, and I read some of the Deadly Woman snippets. Because I remember Deadly Woman was one of the ones. And
Zach fucking Baggins.
Yes, freaking Ghost Adventures and the investigation that shall not be named.
Thanks, investigation who shall remain nameless.
That
was good. You did a really good job. I didn't know some of that. And as you're talking about it, some of it, like the Ghost Adventures episode, started coming back. Mm-hmm. And I think in the Ghost Adventures episode, the girl that you were talking about who used to see Dorothea in her room, they did like a police sketch drawing of who she saw.
Yeah, they brought...
And put it side by side to a photo of Dorothea.
In the Ghost Adventures one, they blindfolded them so they couldn't see where they were going in. And they had the guy that can connect with the spirits. And, and
it's a husband-wife team, right?
It's a husband-wife team. And she was the one drawing. And so,
they're so good.
They're so good. And he wasn't able to connect to Dorothea. He had a sense of her and was like, it seems like she wants to stay distant from me. She won't let me... he said something along the lines of, like, she won't let me in, or she won't let me connect with her, and stuff like that. And he was able to, I guess, see the house before renovations and stuff like that. And so I was like, this is intense. So
it's so intense. And I think, like I said, when they picked up Dorothea on that connect, it was like in like a utility closet. She was like standing, because it was a tiny little figure, like about her size, and she was hiding from them. I don't know. I wonder how that works. I mean, if you're somebody who is so adamant on staying at this location and you don't want people to know your story, can you hide in a closet as a ghost? I don't know.
Why not go on the ground where they can't see?
Yeah. Well, didn't they actually want to, I think Wasley, I can't remember his first name right now, but he went in the front yard and did an obelisk session where she actually buried the bodies, and he had some pretty intense things come over there as well.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So it was actually probably one of my favorite Ghost Adventures episodes, for sure. And, my love-hate relationship with Zach. I love him and his haunted museum. Like, I'd love to have one day. He's into true crime. And in his haunted museum, he has a whole true crime section, Heather. We're going to have to go.
Yes, we're going to have to. Yes, I completely agree. I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. He has letters from serial killers. He
saw. Yeah, it said that he had letters from Dorothea or something like that.
I thought so,
And
yeah.
I was like,
I couldn't remember for sure, but I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, he's got the Kevorkian van where the guy would kill people that wanted to die, but they didn't want to commit suicide. He has the van where Kevorkian used to kill, and it's in his museum. I mean, aside from all his amazing haunted stuff, he has Ed Gain's cauldron that he used to boil the skin in or something to make his Leatherface. It's fucking. He has shit from Charles Manson and John Wayne Gacy.
Oh my goodness, that's gonna have to be like a good vacation for us. It's in Vegas?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And his tarot card reader is fucking amazing too. I don't know. I'd love to. I always say I hate Zach Baggins, but I fucking love him. I adore his life. He's a goddamn motherfucking genius. And he's the yin to my yang, I guess. He believes in demons. I don't. Heather, that was fun.
That was great. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kitsie, for having me.
Yes, absolutely. This was fun. But if you guys enjoyed yourself, please check out Miss Murder. It's on all the podcast apps everywhere. And if you're listening on the Miss Murder side of things, check out Oddity Files. It's me and my friend Nick, and we're having a blast. And we both love Bigfoot. So if you like Bigfoot, this is the place you want to be. So there you go. But Heather, weird is the new cool.
Ghost on.
Yay! We did it!
We did it!
Oddity Files is an independent production. Intro music created by DJ Jimmy. Wah wah! 2020 artwork created by me, Kitsie Duncan. The opinions expressed in this podcast are ours, and ours alone. Well, maybe yours too. If you like the show and would like to support us, visit oddityfiles.com and click on support, or go to patreon.com/oddityfiles. Every little bit helps with both the podcast and the TV show. You can also support us by watching Oddity Files on Amazon Prime. It's free to Prime members and dirt cheap to those who aren't. You can find us on all the social media sites at Oddity Files. Keep spreading the word by sharing, retweeting, and reposting. Join our Oddity Files Facebook group by searching Oddity Files Fan Group and click join. We'll approve you as soon as we can. All weirdos are welcome. Not into that social media stuff? Tell your coworkers, family, even the weird guy who just won't stop talking to you in line for coffee. Oh, and Grandma. Your grandma will love us. We appreciate each and every one of you, and if it weren't for you, we have no idea what we would do with our lives. If you have a story you'd like to submit, send it on in at oddityfilescrew@gmail.com. Also, send in story ideas, silly, weird memes, or just positive vibes to oddityfilescrew@gmail.com. You can also call in and leave that in a voicemail. Call us at 317-300-6699. To contact us about an appearance, reach out at kitsie@oddityfiles.com. When you have a sec, rate, review, and subscribe. We know it doesn't sound like much, but it really helps us get up there in the podcasting charts. And remember, kids, weird is the new cool. Ghost on. Why are you still here? Go on. Get out of here. Turn it off. It's done. Really. I swear. Go. Get. Serious. I'm out of here.